watch is a perfect gift that will be treasured forever. Always a perfect gift for any occasion. From Tracy's Fine Jewelry inside Coin and Bullion Reserves, where our reputation shines as brightly as our diamonds.
Ben and Deb Collins, owners of Bay Guns and Gear, have been in business since 2010, offering new firearms and accessories with a huge selection available for your hunting needs and personal defense. Turn to Bay Guns and Gear. They have the weapon for you. Discount pricing. And if you can't find what you're looking for, they'll special order it for you. Bay Guns and Gear, across from Grease Pro at 3115 Highway 77. Visit their website, baygunsandgear.com.
Shoreline Rentals, Panama City and Mexico Beach vacation rentals are ready for your visit to the sugary white sand beaches and emerald green waters of the Gulf in Florida's Panhandle. Shoreline Rentals' years of experience means helping you plan a wonderful beach vacation or management of your home will be a breeze. Visit their website or call them today, shorelinerentals-pcb.com or 850-757-7118.
Medicare may be confusing, but it doesn't have to be. My name is Michael Deniston. I'm an agent producer authorized to offer AARP Medicare plans from United Healthcare Insurance Company right here in Panama City. I'd be happy to help you better understand Medicare, your coverage options, and discover what may make AARP Medicare plans from United Healthcare a great choice for you. Call me today, Michael Deniston, 850-271-4389. That's 850-271-4389, so you can decide on a plan with confidence. That's 850-271-4389. Michael Deniston. Thank you.
United Healthcare Insurance Company or an affiliate pays royalty fees to AARP. AARP is not an insurer and does not employ or endorse agents, producers, or brokers. AARP encourages you to consider your needs when selecting products and does not make product recommendations for individuals.
The power of the ocean deserves everyone's respect. Even on those calm days, it's hard to see the powerful rip currents. Every year, unsuspected swimmers find themselves in the grip of a rip, and many of them lose their lives. Such tragic events can easily be prevented with a few local tips. Know before you go, check your local beach forecast before you head out, and always swim near a lifeguard. If you're a good swimmer, don't fight the rip. Swim parallel to the beach until you get free of the current's hold. Live like a local, love the beach, and respect the ocean.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, WVLQ Port St. Joe.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's the next evolution of sports talk radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions.
Now.
And now we're taking
With the first pick.
This is the last ball you got to bat. The Inside Drive. From college to the pros. Interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Beth, if you're listening, we got it in there. The intro is official now. Let's Go by Trick Daddy. That's one of the songs that we get our kids going in our youth sports and make sure everybody's fired up, because music certainly has that ability to create emotion, and that's why that's such a good one to get you fired up for sports, for sure. Jay's not here yet, of course, running late. It's like we got this same time every week, Monday through Friday. It's 11 o'clock. You think he would know by now. But you are listening to The Inside Drive. I am Ryan Mulvey, usually joined by Jay Henley here in studio. Beautiful Wednesday here in Panama City Beach, Bay County, sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. Just came from second grade awards over there at University Academy, so congratulations to all the students winning awards, getting done with their school year, getting ready for the summertime, and then be heading on to whatever that next grade is. And a big shout out to Bay High School last night. I know they had their graduation graduation too. So congratulations to the class of 2023, as well as Arnold, Rutherford, and North Bay Haven all had their graduations already. So again, congratulations to all the class members of the beautiful class of 2023. Good luck to the Mosley graduates tonight, and then Bozeman will follow that up on tomorrow night at 7 o'clock p.m. We are, like I said, we are sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. You can find them down there at 2251 West 23rd Street, or just hop on 23rd Street and drive east. You cannot miss the big Kramer signs. The Chevy dealer, you can give them a call at 850-250-1403, or you can give Kramer Marine and Outdoor a call at 850-851-0453. Don't forget, Kramer Marine and Outdoor is a Yamaha outboard full-line dealer with Yamaha Master Certified techs on staff. They also sell Seabourn, Spider, Sundance, both new and used boats. You can check out their inventory. Just go to KramerMarineOutdoor.com. And then also Bay Point Golf Club. Come visit us. It's Memorial Day weekend, but we have our sale going on already. Started on Monday of this week. We're going to run it until we decide to stop running it. So come out and see us. It's going to be $200 in the golf shop, and you get a free round of golf.
When are you going to be selling those Inside Drive ESPN Northwest Florida polos? That
is a good point. And with that being said, I get to give a shout out to my good friend Eric Tate, who is a independent rep for all sorts of stuff. Puka, Cutter and Buck is one of them, and he was excited to hook me up with a few Inside Drive shirts. So we got to represent when we're around town. I think I heard the door. That might be Jay Henley in the house. But again, come out and see us at Bay Point Golf Club. Spend $200 in the golf shop, and you will get a free round of golf that you could use the day of, or you could save it sometime for the rest of the year. If you're looking for a gift to give somebody, if you're watching live on Facebook, he is here now. Not that you're busy. I mean,
I told you it takes me an hour and a half to watch 60 Minutes.
That is true. That is true. That is true. There's another great Jay Henley line this morning here on the Inside Drive. But Jay, how are you doing today?
I am doing good, Ryan. How are you?
Good. Are you busy on the lesson tee this morning?
Yes, sir. I am just fresh. Yeah, I made it here in like 2.5 minutes.
Wow,
so,
that's pretty impressive. I mean, we can hold it down if you needed to take a little more time, but I appreciate you rushing to get here. And
all good.
Hopefully had a good lesson and getting some people moving in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're getting there, man. It's hot.
It is. The humidity is getting up, that's for sure. But certainly better than cold. That's for sure.
Yes.
That is for sure. We got a great show lined up for you today. At 11:30, we will be joined by Trey Jones. He's the FSU men's golf coach. We spoke with him before the NCAA regionals. Well, now they are moving on to the national championship, which starts out there in Arizona here on the 26th. FSU had a tough go in that quarterfinal match. We were talking about it live on the air yesterday. They ended up not winning that particular match, but had a good fight. They lost to Wake Forest. They lost 3 matches. One of them went extra holes to 20 holes. They won one match, and then the other match was half. So Wake Forest ended up winning that particular match 3-1-1. South Carolina lost to the other USC. Like we said yesterday, it was pretty cool how you had Texas, Texas A&M, Stanford, and Pepperdine, which are 2 California schools, California coast schools almost, and then Wake Forest and FSU, which is a very big rivalry in the world of golf on the ACC side. And then you had USC and SC. SC ended up beating South Carolina, winning 3 matches, tying 1, and losing none. So very strong performance by the Trojans in that quarterfinal match. As I mentioned, FSU lost their match. They lost 3, tied 1. Lost 3, won 1, and then tied 1 as well. And then Stanford took down Pepperdine, the number 8 seed. They won 3 matches, lost 1, and then they ended up calling the other match. And then Texas A&M, I was talking to Ethan Boyd, our good friend from Rudy's, texting him last night as our youth baseball game was getting started, saying, "Go Aggies," as they took it to the Longhorns, winning 3 of the matches and only losing 1. And then the last match just got called because it doesn't matter once you win the 3.
So they had to travel all the way to Arizona for a Texas A&M match. They could have had a Texas showdown somewhere in Dallas or something, right?
That's right. Well, and then coming up next year, Texas is moving into the ACC, so that old rivalry of the Aggies and the Longhorns will be renewed in college football, which would be good because I know they don't play nearly as much. Not only did you have the quarterfinals yesterday in the women's golf national championships, but they had to play another round that afternoon, and that was your your semifinal matchup. Kind of some shocking news. Now, not surprising that Wake Forest did take down Texas A&M. They won 3 matches, and once you win the 3 matches, they just called the other 2 matches that were tied because basically the first one, it's 3 out of 5. So Wake Forest is moving on to the national championship, and then this is the surprising one. The number 1 ranked Stanford Cardinals went down to the USC Trojans, including number 1 ranked amateur in the world, Rose Zhang. She lost her match 2-1 to Navrosa, but USC won 3 matches. They lost 1, and then that other one didn't matter once it was tied, once the other ones finished up. So this afternoon, you do have the finals of the NCAA Women's National Championship. You've got number 3 seed Wake Forest taking on number 5 seed Southern Cal. So you will have a national champion in women's golf by the end of the afternoon today.
Nice.
I know the first tee time is at 1:35. I'm going to guess that is our time that I'm looking on GolfStat right now, because that is out there in Arizona, and that would be pretty late. Maybe it is Mountain Time.
Yeah, it could be.
I'm not sure. Yeah. But good luck. You got the Pac-12 and the ACC teeing off on that. And we're excited to talk to Trey Jones later on this show to get his thoughts on Greyhawk and their chances of winning a national championship.
Can we ask him if he talked to Koepka in the last couple of days?
We definitely can.
Okay.
I bet he did. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And then, of course, at 12 o'clock every Wednesday, we'll be joined by Keith Fleming. He is our weekly show contributor. He is host of 2 Off the Tee, as well as a writer for Fantasy Six-Pack, director of fantasy sports for fantasy content for Fantasy and Frames. And then we had the pleasure of joining them on 2 on the Tee last week, which was a ton of fun. We're going to be recapping the PGA Championship, all that good stuff, and then we'll be getting ready. Got to get your phones out with your DraftKings lineups available for the Charles Schwab Invitational this week, right?
Yes, it is.
Which is Michael Block got invited to play in that tournament. So
and that's one thing I want to talk about, because I'm thinking about this. I'm like, do you think Block is going to continue on through this and keep that going, or do you think he's going to fold like a lawn chair this week? I mean, that's
a great question. I mean, obviously you want him to continue to play well. I think he was just out there having fun on Sunday and just really enjoying the moment. I think there's not an ounce of pressure on him. I mean, so which could be good. With no pressure on you, go out there and just see what happens. You're going to be playing a lot easier golf course, that's for darn sure.
But you know this game, though. I mean, it'll humble you in the matter of minutes. And so,
look at Victor Hovland on 16.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, so I'm excited. I think the viewing this week's going to be up there just because of Block.
Well, and it's smart by both the Charles Schwab Invitational and the RBC Canadian Open. Not historically big-time events on the PGA Tours. Viewership may not be quite as high, but to bring a guy like Michael Block, who just kind of transcended the game of golf this past week, into those 2 tournaments, it's smart. It should bring ratings. I mean, especially if he makes the cut. I mean, what if he makes the cut? What if he's in the hunt like he was in the PGA? Right. This could be life-changing for him. I mean, I know he's 46 years old, so he's 4 years away from the senior tour, which we were talking yesterday.
Yeah.
But did you see too his 7-iron that he made that hole-in-one? Did you see the stuff on social media about that?
Right now,
the last thing I saw is somebody offered him $50,000 for that 7-iron. He said, if somebody gives me $50,000, I'll hand deliver that 7-iron. Take it, Block. But it depends on if he's greedy or not. I guess we'll find out. He did just win $288,333.
Did you see the 7-iron? It looked like it had gone through World War III.
I mean, it's 2014 Tour Preferred MCs.
Did he have some?
A lot of lead tape on those bad boys. A lot of lead tape. That's how you know he's a man of the people. If you put lead tape on your clubs, you are old school grinder making it happen. I'm sure you have lead tape on some of your stuff.
Are you calling me old school?
A little bit.
Oh man,
a little bit.
I'm a little bit old with a little bit of new.
There you go. Yeah. So you still have a little bit of lead tape.
There you go. That's right.
No, Gav's got lead tape in the golf shop, if anybody ever needs it. So lead tape, David, if you don't know, it changes the weight of your clubs. You can put lead tape on your clubs without any kind of modification, infraction, or anything like that. And Michael Block had lead tape all over. Last thing I need is lead tape on the bottom of my clubs, because that just makes that ball come up high, even more high, and I certainly don't need that. That's for sure.
Well, for the old school guys like Matt Stoltz, we had him yesterday. We're going to give him some good vibes going into the Senior PGA Championship this week. So maybe Matt.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder how his practice round with John Daly went yesterday afternoon.
I bet it was fun.
I'm sure it was a good time.
Yeah.
And that's what's kind of cool about the Senior Tour. I had an opportunity when we were working on some stuff with the Golf Channel several years ago to go play in the Pro-Am out there at the Rapisan Systems Classic. At that time, both times were at Fallen Oak. And had a chance to play in the Pro-Am, and we played with two different pros. And the one time, because it was the Golf Channel one, we went out first off the tee, and it was cold. Ooh. But the Senior Tour, I mean, everybody's just kind of in the twilight of their career, shooting the you-know-what, right, having some cocktails. In the locker rooms, the guys walking around the clubhouse, everybody's just there having a good time. It's such a different vibe than a PGA Tour event.
I was wondering where you're going with that locker room.
Everybody's just shooting the breeze and talking. I mean, they're just normal guys. Yeah. You can tell they've played golf their entire career. Now, you've got some guys that join the Senior Tour that maybe not have been on the PGA Tour. But with that Senior Tour, it's kind of like they're still playing competitive golf, but they're having a lot of fun while they're doing it.
They don't have anything to prove.
Yeah, they got nothing to lose
either. Yeah. So, yeah, they just have a good time.
Well, and Bernhard Langer seems to win everything on the Senior Tour anyway. So.
He does. It's that long putter, man.
And then when Phil played a couple of times on the Senior Tour, he had won as well. But now he's not allowed. So that's a topic for here nor there. Right. We'll jump into a lot of that stuff, recapping the PGA Championship at the top of the hour. But a lot of good stuff going on in sports right now. The Celtics got the dub last night, but history is not on their side. No team in NBA history has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit. Now, baseball and hockey, there are teams that have come back from a 3-0 deficit. So, they just got to win one game at a time. But those South Florida teams, the Florida Panthers, have an opportunity tonight to close out that series against the Carolina Hurricanes with a sweep, which is pretty incredible that those South Florida teams.
Florida's on fire, man.
They are. I don't know how the Marlins are doing, but I'm guessing.
I think they're hanging in there.
Hanging in there.
Yeah, they're hanging in there.
Like a hair in a biscuit.
Yeah.
That's a Jayism. He just doesn't know it yet. We're gonna cut all the Jayisms from this show and make them happen. That is for sure. Hey, you had tagged something in Facebook last night. It was a story about a junior golfer that had been in an accident, and tell everybody a little bit about that.
Yeah, so his name's Will Reeves. The story's coming out of Sumter County, Southwest Georgia, Americus, Georgia. I'm sure a lot of you know where that is, but anyways, I had met his dad back about 10 or 12 years ago. Big time golfer, plays the Griffin Bell Golf Course there in Americus, Georgia, golf family. And so I remember meeting Will Reeves, who's 18 years old, back 10 years ago. So he was 8. And he knew the dad knew I was a golf pro, and I was in between transition in the business. I wasn't a golf pro at that time, but I got to talking to the little 8-year-old about golf, and I said, man, what do you want to do when you get older? And he goes, man, I want to play golf at Georgia. Big Georgia Bulldog fans. And so fast forward to 3 years ago, and Will, is out. He's 15 years old at this time, and he goes out on a side-by-side, kind of like, what Mr. Warren drives out there at Bay Point.
Polaris,
Polaris. And he gets in a very bad accident. And this kid, I didn't know if he was going to survive or not. So I've been following him on Facebook for the last 3 years, and he's gone through 16 surgeries in the last 3 years. And I didn't think he was going to, ever play golf again. And so at Southland Academy, it's a private school there in Americas. He led the golf team. He just graduated this week, and he led the golf team in golf, but he didn't necessarily lead the golf team in golf. He led the golf team in motivation, not giving up. It was a story that was on WALB News in Southwest Georgia, and it just grabbed my heart this past week, and just to see how he has not given up and how he's used his passion of golf and just be motivated in the game of golf. And man, what a story that is. I mean, he's not going to go on and play college golf because he's lost 3 or 4 years, obviously, of surgeries.
Yeah.
But he's going to continue it on as a hobby. And so they vacation down here, a good bit. I think they've got a house here, but would be cool to get him in the studio. I was trying to get him in the studios this week, but or even call in, but they'll be down here in a couple weeks. I'd love to hear a little bit more in detail, with the story of that, man. But 16 leg surgeries in 3 years and played golf this year.
Man.
That's motivational.
Well, and we talk about on the show often, and we talk about leadership and the mental side of things and all that. And, not only can you have an impact with your ability and your raw talent and your skills on a team, but you can certainly have it with your emotions and your mental side too. And to go through something as tough as that, just to go through 16 surgeries, you have no choice but to be tough and look at the bright side of things and know you're given an opportunity to make some stuff happen, to see such a young man do those kind of things and have an impact on other people, and using something not good and turning it into something very positive is always a good story, especially in sports.
Well, and if you listen to the news, the WLB news, they interviewed him. One of the things that he said, attitude is free. And that is really, it really is. You have a choice to either have a good attitude or a bad attitude. He took the choice to take a good attitude with it, turned, lemon into lemonade, and really, it's been cool to watch. Every 2 to 3 weeks I would get updates, and I'm like, man, he's going through another surgery. So, and he played golf this year. So,
unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable, man.
Well, and I think you nailed it on the head. Attitude is a choice, period.
Yeah.
You can either choose to have a good attitude or choose to have a negative attitude.
That's right.
And that's one thing, with all of our staff out there at Bay Point and all the kids that we work with, we just preach attitude. Because if you have a positive attitude and a smidgen of talent, that positive attitude is going to outweigh somebody who has all the talent in the world but a really negative attitude. Because one, you're not coachable, and when I say coachable, athletes, employees, whatever it may be. But when you wake up every morning, you have that choice. You can put on the positive hat or you can put on the negative hat. And ain't nobody got any time for those negative hat people. So put the positive hat on every morning when you wake up.
Yep.
I know, even everybody out there has an opportunity to do that. That's something that doesn't cost anything. It's free and it's a choice.
That's right.
So obviously he's making that choice to take something that could have been negative, woe is me, Debbie Downer, and turn it. And you see so many people do that, especially on the sports side of things.
Yeah, and we're talking 15, 16, 17 years old where, this kid, instead of being in the hospital for 3 years, he should have been at proms, he should have been on dates, he should have been, whatever. And, we're talking about a kid here. We're not talking about, an adult. Let's say, I know how I was as a kid.
Look how you turned out.
This is true.
You maybe didn't wear as many positive hats as you should, but we'll get you. Speaking of hats, that hat's for you right there, and there's lots of positivity in that particular hat.
A Beach House Sales and Development hat. Thank you,
the
Beth.
Gulf Premier Real Estate Group.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You can thank my beautiful bride for that one.
Yes.
Since you are a hat-wearing fiend, we figured we might as well get you another hat. I'm not a big hat guy, so I don't have the right size dome
gotta hide
for
this
hats.
noggin right here.
That's right. That's right. No, absolutely. Hey, when we get back, we're going to put Jay on the spot because we haven't done the Jay Henley Golf Tip of the Week yet. So when we get back, we'll talk a little bit about that golf tip of the week, and then at the bottom of the hour, we're going to be joined by Trey Jones, the FSU men's golf coach. Don't forget, you can listen to us on 104.3 in Panama City Beach, 101.9 along the Forgotten Coast, as well as 102.1 up there in Mariana, all the way to Dothan. Had a blast talking to the Chipley head coach yesterday, too.
I'll listen to that all the way up to Bozeman.
just gets 37 years coaching there. He only knows Chipley, and that's what's so great about when you get some of these smaller towns and the athletes, and just everybody rallies around it, and you can really feel that yesterday in his voice.
That was some great questions by you and David. That was great.
David was leading the charge on that one.
No, sir. I'm just following Ryan's lead, baby.
No, that was a good time. Really, really exciting to talk to him. And I didn't realize that they had been in the state championship game back in 2014, but then 2 years ago, and then last year they lost in the regional final. So Chipley is a 1A powerhouse going toe-to-toe with Bozeman, it seems like. Every year, which is great stuff. So, again, you're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back with Jay Henley's Golf Tip of the Week.
Never let you down, baby. Hey, what's your baby mama at the crib and blow her back? This Memorial Day, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida honors our local heroes. A Panama City native, United States Air Force Senior Master Sergeant Sherry Lynn Olds served 20 years and died in the 1998 embassy bombing in Nairobi, Africa, while serving her country. Thank you for your service and great sacrifice. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Wednesday's weather forecast. A variety of clouds and likely thunderstorms this afternoon and evening with a high near 78 and a wind between 10 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies tonight, a light breeze and a temperature of 67. About the same tomorrow, around 81 with sunshine. Quite warm with a high around 80 and sunny Friday. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hi, this is Matt Lewis with Reliable Hydraulic Solutions. We offer comprehensive diagnostics and repair service for all types of hydraulic units, such as hydraulic and pneumatic cylinders, hydraulic pumps, motors, and valves, as well as a broad range of hydraulic hoses and O-rings. Give us a call at Reliable Hydraulic Solutions at 850-326-3000 for any of your hydraulic needs. Or come see us on Commercial Drive off Jinx Avenue in Panama City.
Chuck was terrible at fishing. He spent many frustrating hours attempting to get results he saw from internet videos, aggravating trial and error fishing trips, and misguided advice from well-intended friends. Chuck is happy now with his newfound success after he visited Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, where we keep fishing fun, simple, and successful. See us soon at Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, located directly off Highway 98 on the west end of Panama City Beach.
The only place to get sports betting coverage on the radio. Is this legal? Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios. It's the Inside Drive with Brian Mulvey on ESPN Northwest Florida.
I got royalty inside my DNA.
That's Jay Henley's jam right there. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We are inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. Always remember you can watch us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Just search ESPN Northwest Florida. You can also download our free mobile app inside the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. But you got to search 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. And then you can always visit ESPNPC.com. You click the Listen Live button. Also, don't forget when you're on ESPNPC.com, scroll down and check out that Tiger TV logo. 6,000 channels, all the sports channels, whatever you want to watch, all for just $15 a month. Just make sure you got a good internet connection. That's a good looking hat you got on there, Jay.
Yes,
Speaking of good looking hats, Jay, what is what you got for us this week for the tip of the week? I wasn't here Wednesday, so we didn't get to kick it off. But the week's still, it's only halfway through, so we have plenty of time to talk about your tip of the week.
Okay, yeah, it is Wednesday. Okay, yeah. All right, so follow me on this one now. So, do you remember the paper bags back in...
This could go so many directions.
It could, yeah. So,
Saints, there's other ways.
Yes. McDonald's bags, Tennessee?
No. Yeah, no.
Okay.
So when you're going to the grocery store, they used to have paper bags.
Yeah, paper or plastic.
Paper or plastic. All right. So imagine that you have you've got them in both your hands and you're carrying both the paper bags.
Are the bags full or empty?
They are full.
Got it.
They are full. Okay. And you are. This is a posture thing, by the way. Posture, very key in golf. So
as well as when you're sitting in a chair.
Exactly. Yes. So you have to. So imagine that you're at the house and your car door is. A lot of my students. Hold on. A lot of my students have heard this before. Not going to lie. Imagine that the car door is open.
Okay.
You've got both the bags.
Got two paper bags in my hands. They're full.
They're full
of groceries.
They're full.
Healthy groceries.
Yep. You have to push healthy groceries.
Yes.
That's right. You have to push that car door closed with your rear end.
Got it.
All right, that's going to get you in the proper golf position. like that.
Man, you are bringing the heat with the tip of the week.
How about that?
That is some visual for everybody listening out there on the radio. That is some visual stuff. So I've got 2 paper bags full of healthy groceries.
Yep.
I'm standing out by my car. The stupid car door is open. I got to shut it with my butt. I get into my good posture position. I slam that thing closed.
Boom, you are ready.
Now I'm ready to make a good golf
Yes,
swing.
sir. Yes, sir.
Grip, aim, posture.
That's it.
Posture is very, very important.
Yep. I hope everybody's got that visualization around.
I don't know how you could not have that visualization. You painted that up so beautifully for us and the listeners out there.
Do paper bags still exist at the grocery store?
I think so, but usually when it's paper bag, you're putting something in it that you don't want other people to see.
My favorite type of bag.
Brown paper bag. You gotta hide the booze.
That's right. That's right.
But yeah, they do. I mean, remember when we were kids? I think we talked about this after the show one day. You used to put them as book covers on your books.
Yeah.
And then you write all over. They get torn up, and then somebody came out with the idea of inventing like book socks or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Where if you wanted to pay for the things instead of using the paper bags. But no, great tip of the week. And posture is so important in your golf swing. Go ahead, Jay.
Did you make your own book covers back when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Or you did?
Yeah.
See, my mom did mine. So
you like me personally?
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
my mom did mine.
Okay. Yeah, my mom did mine too.
Yeah. Do they still have books and book covers in high school? My kids aren't in high school yet, just going into middle, so.
They probably are used in like computers.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Chromebook.
You got the backpack with 16 books in it, trying to shove it in your locker.
Yeah.
But now it's all just on a computer.
Yeah, and then Parker's Chromebook is not charged, and he's like, Dad, I can't go to school today because my Chromebook's not charged.
God, man, times have changed, that's for sure.
Well, and then back in the day, if bad weather or whatever, like I'd rather carry around a backpack with 16 books rather than, you're not going to school today, but you're still doing school today.
Yeah, because of the computers. That is a good point. That is a good point. You're still tied to, especially with all the virtual learning post-COVID. Everything's back in the usual now. But we can talk about book covers for the next hour and a half if we wanted to. But we'll probably talk to Trey Jones here in a couple minutes.
I like that.
Yeah, but great tip. And posture is so important in a golf swing because it helps with all the mechanical rotations and the way you're trying to get the swing on plane and your hinges. Like, you have to have a good posture in order to rotate properly in your golf swing.
Yeah, and when you get into that position, I think it minimalizes the movement in your feet and knees and things. And that's what you're ultimately trying to do in golf instruction is minimalize movement. Even though you are rotating in the game of golf, we have to minimalize some movement. So when you get into that position where your rear end's more out, you've closed that car door, you have less movement in the body.
Yeah, so less lateral movement for sure. Yeah, and that's like in any sport. Your movement needs to be efficient and in the right direction in any order to be successul.
That's right.
Our good friend out there, Steve Wiley, one of our extreme professional kart guys, range attendants. He was listening on the way in. He said Michael Shears, what you talked about yesterday, is out there on the range. And as Ben Hogan said, the secret is in the dirt, out there looking for the answer, trying to find that answer on the golf swing. But I know where people can find that answer on the golf swing, and that's golfwithjay.com.
That's it.
Don't forget.
Golfwithjay.com.
I mean, it's the best domain out there in instruction. There's no doubt.
Speaking of Michael Shears, he's going to be with us live in the studio Friday, 11 a.m. So looking forward to that. He played golf at Vandy, transferred over, just met him yesterday, but transferred over to Georgia, played 1 year at Georgia, and we're going to have him live here in the Bill Kramer GMC Chevy studio.
Wow, look at you. There's also Kramer Marine and Outdoor.
And Kramer Marine Outdoor.
But I'm not going to take a point off for you on that one.
Okay, good.
I thought that was good.
Yeah, no partial credit there. That's great.
Yeah.
The growth of Jay throughout these last 2 or 3 weeks have just been amazing.
Hey, when I do my sports awards for my youth teams, I always have most improved as one of my awards. And for the month of May, it's definitely Jay. There's nobody else with us, but you get the most improved award. So
we need a picture up somewhere.
Yeah, definitely.
Employee of the month.
I'll get him a certificate and an award, and we'll present it to him on May 31st.
No, I think Liam did a great job yesterday. We got 2 words out of him.
Yeah, the kid never shuts up at home, but when he gets on the radio and you just put that mic in front of him,
that just means he's truly loved, Ryan. That's what that means.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. That's right. So. We had our last Sudeth game last night. The 2 8U Sudeth teams played off, and the Lions got it done with the victory. Liam had a good game. He had several hits, a pop fly catch, and a couple putouts. And the Sutherlands are a good team. Chris Kramer's son is on that team, and looking forward to playing more baseball.
Oh, yeah. Was that him? Because I saw the picture. Was that him where he had the mustache?
Yes.
That was so cool.
For some reason, like 3 or 4 games ago, I don't know if it was Beth or him, but he's got the eye black in his bag, and they drew the handlebar mustache, and he's rocked it the last several games. I don't know if we're going to continue it over to flag football or not. It doesn't seem to have that same kind of feeling with that particular stuff, but yeah, he's definitely rocking that mustache.
I love it, man.
Rocking that mustache. So, but yeah, no, it's certainly good. But posture, yeah, was your tip of the week, man.
Yeah,
that was such a good tip of the week. There's no doubt.
Well, thank you.
But we were talking to somebody last night. I was talking about, Brock Purdy, 49ers quarterback. This is completely random and pivoting. I know we're trying to get Trey Jones on the line, but he's progressing well. He tore that UCL in the NFC Championship game last year, and a few things have came out of that. One of the things that's pretty interesting is now the NFL has changed the rule. They're calling it the Purdy rule, that you can dress a third quarterback, but it doesn't affect your active game roster. Because whereas before you could, I want to say it's 54 men are on the active game roster.
Okay.
And, in the Niners, in the NFC Championship, they had Purdy, and then they had Josh Johnson, who's no longer on the team. He's been on 14 teams or something like that. And so he had that surgery done, but they changed the rules. So now you can dress a third quarterback in the playoffs, but it doesn't take up that 54-man roster spot.
Okay.
So had that been available last year, who knows? We probably still would have lost. But if Brock Purdy doesn't go down, I still think we win that game.
Yeah. So he can dress. So he's not counted as the 55th player.
Yeah, exactly. You're not taking a spot from somebody else, but you have that quarterback available should both of your quarterbacks go down. And that's basically what happened. Brock Purdy went down with the UCL tear, and then Josh Johnson got his head knocked off and got a concussion. So he was out, and that's why we had, I was hoping Christian McCaffrey would come in, but and everybody makes it sound like, oh yeah, he can come in, just start throwing. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
it doesn't work that way, but it still opens up an element. And when you're not throwing the ball, and the defense knows that you're not throwing the ball, I'd rather have Christian McCaffrey throwing 1 out of every 7 passes than we're not throwing at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And he threw a touchdown pass in his second game with the Niners, his first game after having a full week and all that stuff. And then also but anyway, getting back to that UCL tear, he's actually going to start throwing next week already. But Tommy John surgery used to be the repair for that UCL injury, which is much more common in baseball than it is in football.
Right.
Although I think Jake Delhomme had that surgery done, actual Tommy John surgery done, and he was never the same after that with the Panthers. So anyway, this particular surgery, they actually go in and they put a brace, and they use what you got, and they put a brace in there and reconnect everything instead of doing the full-on Tommy John surgery, which is a lot shorter time for healing. Obviously, he had that surgery back in, I want to say, early March, because they had to wait till the swelling went down, and he's already getting to be back throwing here next week, which is pretty awesome because they're hoping that he might be available for that week 1 start. But in the meantime, Trey Lance is certainly making some waves in training. The OTAs are going on right now, and him and Sam Darnold are kind of going back and forth a little bit. But Trey's been working hard on, Liam gave us his answer yesterday and who he thought the starter was going to be. He said Trey Lance, although I know he's a huge Brock Purdy fan.
Yeah.
But Trey Lance has been working with Patrick Mahomes, his private quarterback coach, and has been spending a lot of time with Patrick Mahomes, and even Kyle Shanahan's talking about how well he's looking and playing a lot better, and all those particular things. So I'm going to be anxious to see how that all shapes out. Also, they changed a rule yesterday too as well. Jay, I might put you on the spot, but I feel it in your eyes. I already know. So it has to do with kickoffs and kickoff returns.
Okay.
So if you kick it in a touchback, or if you call a fair catch now, it's quote unquote a touchback as well. So instead of being on the 20-yard line, they're going to move that up to the 25-yard line. What are your thoughts on that particular?
You said a punt?
No, kickoff.
A kickoff.
Yep. So if you get a touchback, instead of it being on the 20 going out, it's going to be on the 25 going out.
Dude, I mean, I disagree with everything. Where do they kick? I
like this.
Yeah,
I like this.
Where they're kicking from the 50-yard line now, anyways, aren't they?
Pretty much. It's the 40.
The 40. Yeah. I mean, how many times? Yeah, Well,
they did that for a safety standpoint. There's so many people that got injured on kickoffs, but you're playing football. It's called inherent risk.
I mean, look, in baseball, now all of a sudden, if you have 4 balls, if you're going to walk a guy, you can just you can point to first base and go, hey, go to first base. That's what they're doing.
We
in
thought
football.
about intentionally walking some people in the 8U game yesterday, but you can't turn the pitching machine and do that.
But being a pitcher, a former pitcher, those 4 lackadaisical balls to the catcher outside, and I hate to pivot over to baseball.
No, pivot as much as you want.
But those are the 4 hardest balls to throw to is to the catcher and to the first baseman. David, come on.
No, you're 100% right. And you've seen some pitchers get a little lazy and they leave it a little close to the plate. Yep. Rarely happened, but still, I agree with you, Jay. I think that they should be throwing all 4 pitches. And then back to Little League Baseball, you could, you don't got to turn the pitcher machine to the outside. You could just play a little beanball there.
Yeah, there you go.
But I guess I said that 20. To say this was that let's just let's take the kicking thing out of the NFL and just place it at the 20. I mean, they're kicking it into the grandstands anyways.
Yeah, for the most part. There are some kickers that, can't get it quite as far as others. And then when you have weather being a factor, like wind and rain, and when it gets cold, that ball obviously does not go as far, just like in golf. So, yeah. But I think they've moved it out to the 25 now. So because it's, in my opinion, because they moved the kick up to the 40, so you're getting a lot more touchbacks and not having as many returns. Now you're automatically going to get it on the 25 instead of the 20. I know it's just 5 yards, but 5 yards makes a big deal when you're talking about a drive. So maybe you'll see guys not doing touchbacks as much because of that.
Okay, I could see that as well.
So we'll see and it's just going to be in effect for this year, and then they're going to revisit it and see how it looked. So
okay,
and they've been doing this for 3 years now in college football, and I hate it every single year, just like I hate the daggum overtime. College football overtime was great the way it was, even if it got a little lengthy sometimes. There's a reason why we're watching it, and we stay tuned in for all 7 overtimes, whatever it may be. But yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of it, but I totally understand it. But then you've got the XFL who does it in a way where the teams line up 5
I think
yards.
That's cool, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it'd be weird to see the NFL do it, but
it would be. Yeah. But it's a method worth exploring, in my opinion.
Yeah. So the XFL, you said they line up 5 and 5?
5 yards away from each other, and no team can move. No one can move until the fielder or the returner touches the ball.
Oh, yeah. I like that.
It's kind of neat.
I like that.
It's definitely, and it's so you don't have people running full steam at each other and just ripping each other's heads off.
Right. Yeah.
The XFL had a couple cool rules that were pretty neat. But yeah, like I said, we had Jordan Teamu out at the golf club this past Saturday, the XFL Offensive Player of the Year, played for Ole Miss. We had a couple. Go ahead, Jay.
I was going to say, when they introduced the XFL years ago, I mean, wasn't it kind of a no holds bar kind of thing? Like, I mean, the XFL.
It's kind of been reintroduced multiple times. The original XFL from many years ago was going to be like a prison league, pretty much. It was going to be like watching what was the movie The Longest Yard? It was going to be like watching that pretty much, and then it kind of evolved.
Which is cool.
Yeah, it's you get when you talk about football and you get a little gimmicky, you kind of lose a lot of the fan base. So I think that's where that didn't really take off, and then they tried to launch it again, and COVID happened. But I really feel like now after this past season and seeing the momentum they got, people in the stands, you've got players being signed by NFL teams for second chances or never got a look in the first place. I think they're onto something. I worry about the USFL because I feel like the USFL doesn't have the excitement that the XFL does. I think you got a lot better players in the XFL than you do in the USFL. A lot of guys that were in the league that came out, a lot of big time college players that didn't get drafted or didn't get signed as free agents. So, and of course, like David says, anytime you got The Rock promoting stuff, he's got such a big reach and following that's always going to help.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, when he does this stuff before the games, it's a little cheesy, but
does he say, do you smell what The Rock is cooking?
Well, and the Super Bowl a couple years when the Rams were in it, should have been the Niners. He did that to start it.
Oh, okay.
Kind of weird.
It was kind of weird.
Wasn't he wearing like a very weird, outlandish type suit as well?
Oh, yeah.
If I can remember correctly.
Definitely. But we're talking about The Rock kicking off a Super Bowl, so apparently it worked.
He can do anything and everything, and everybody's like, wow, with him.
Now, he played high-level college football, but then he got hurt or something like that. Is that the case, David?
I'm pretty sure he played for Miami. I'll double-check that, though, here in this break.
Yeah, that's right. In the NFL, yep. And then season ended a little
Very
short.
similar to Jim Brown. I did not know, Jim Jim Brown passed away this past week?
This past weekend, I believe.
You know, you look at him as a football player, but man, you know, he was in a bunch of movies that I didn't know about. I mean, so yeah, kind of. I guess The Rock was the opposite way.
Alan Beach, David. Yep, he played for the U with Michael Irvin and all those beautiful people.
And he also played in the CFL. I kind of remember that from. I've watched bits and pieces of that show that's about like him growing up or whatever. But he played for the Calgary Stampeders, but then got cut during his first season.
There you go.
Nice
bringing back the XFL, making stuff happen. We're going to continue to try to get Coach Jones on the line. I know he's out there in Greyhawk already, so who knows what they're trying to get ready for. But if not, we'll talk a lot more fun sports stuff. You're listening to Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. You can listen on 104.3 in Panama City, 101.9 along the Forgotten Coast, as well as 102.1 in Marianna, all the way up there to Dothan in Southwest Georgia. Also, don't forget about South Oak Title and Closing. 4 great locations across the Florida Panhandle, right here in Panama City Beach, just up the road in Lynn Haven. You can visit our friends at West and Destin, and they got another office right there in Inlet Beach on 30A. All real estate closing transaction fees are roughly the same, so go choose South Oak. They are the best at what they do. Offices are beautiful, great technology, and wonderful people that work at South Oak Title and Closing. You're listening to Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
Memorial Day, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida honors our local heroes. From Port St. Joe, Sergeant Clifford Sims, United States Army, made the ultimate sacrifice. While in heavy combat in Vietnam, company leader Sergeant Sims threw himself on top of an enemy explosive device in order to save the soldiers of Company D. Thank you for your service and great sacrifice. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
The new Smokin' Triple Stack at Firehouse Subs is stacked high with honey ham, smoked turkey, and slow-smoked beef brisket. To top it off, a portion of every purchase helps provide life-saving equipment to first responders. The Smokin' Triple Stack Sub. Get it for a limited time, only at Firehouse Subs. Participating U.S. locations. Firehouse of America, LLC, and Firehouse Subs suppliers together will donate 0.09% of purchases in 2023 at Firehouse Subs locations to the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation for the purchase of life-saving equipment with a minimum donation of $1 million.
The road is yours this summer in a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Stop by and check out the Bill Bird Kia SUV family that is built for all in adventures and endless possibilities. Whether you're traveling on the highways or off-road, you'll do it with grace and grit. Now offering 3.25% APR up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2023 Kia Sorento. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort and safety and technology. Bill Bird Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us today at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. We'll treat you like family and give you the peace of mind that you can trust.
Offer from Kia Finance for the purchase of a new 2023 Kia Sorento with $22.22 per month per 1,000 finance at 48 months. Quantities limited. No down payment required. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 7/5/23.
The locals love him.
You're gonna love this. You are my favorite. It's my favorite.
Everybody's favorite. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. Go check them out there at 2251 West 23rd Street in Panama City. And as I mentioned at the top of the hour to start the show, come visit us at Bay Point Golf Club. We've got a great sale going on. $200 you spend in awesome golf shop merchandise. And we've got some really cool stuff in right now from Johnny O, Levelware, Travis Matthew, Turtleson, just some really cool prints and some really neat shirts. That baseball shirt that's like that football shirt that I have. It's got all the different baseball things. I keep walking past it in the golf shop. I was like, I might have to get that one. Yeah. But we are switching to football season here pretty shortly. So
you get a free round of golf.
Yeah, $200. You get a free round of golf that you can use day of, or you can use till the end of the year.
Nice.
And you can give it as a way to get. It's a voucher you're going to get. You can use it for yourself. You can use it as a gift. Don't forget, Father's Day is coming up here, third Sunday in June. So you could buy dad $200 worth of merchandise and give him a free round of golf.
Yeah, or you get the round.
Or you get the round, or you get the merchandise. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do. Still trying to get Coach Jones on the line. Again, he is out there in Scottsdale, Arizona, as they are preparing to play in the NCAA Men's Golf National Championship, which I thought was really cool, Jay, was they've been out there the last couple of days, and they've been supporting the FSU women's golf team as well. They were out there following along, watching, cheering on those girls as well. So always cool to see those, multiple teams from different universities supporting one another, and I know you see that a lot of different universities. Also, the Division II Men's Golf National Championship is going on up in Warren, Ohio at Avalon Lakes Golf Course. And the reason I mention that is because we've got some locals participating in that. And North Georgia didn't have a great round yesterday. The first round, they shot several over par, but then they followed up beautifully yesterday with a 7 under par round. Their first round looked 13 under par, or over par if I can do quick math. And then yesterday they were 7 under par to get themselves really in a good spot. Right now they are in that coveted 8th spot as they are trying to advance to match play. Very similar to Division I, except you don't have the 30 to 15, then to the 8. You have 20 teams that qualified for the NCAA Division II National Championship, and that University of North Georgia is currently in that 8th spot, 1 stroke ahead of Missouri S&T. I didn't realize that West Florida, the Argonauts over there in Pensacola, they're the number 1 ranked Division II men's golf team in the country.
Oh my goodness.
It's pretty awesome. But the reason why I mentioned North Georgia is because Noah Zedeker, who played at Mosley High School, worked for us out there at Bay Point Golf Club. The trusty lefty, he's on the North Georgia golf team, and he's off to a good start. The whole team's off to a good start. He's their number 2 golfer, which is pretty incredible for Noah. Just awesome to see golfers.
Playing golf with him back, years ago. Obviously, I haven't played golf with him years, but Noah always has that ability to just get the ball in the hole. I've never, it's so hard to get the ball in the hole in golf, obviously. But if Noah's behind a tree, he's going to make par, or he's going to make bogey and follow it up with a birdie. But he's so exciting to play golf with, and congratulations to those guys to making it up there.
I know his dad made the trek all the way up there to Ohio to watch that Division II National Championship. His older brother too, was it Zach? Yeah, he had a really great collegiate career. They played on the same team at forget the name of that college that they were at. The one Noah went to right out of high school. I was going to say Columbus State, but that's not
Murray
it.
State.
No, it's a green team. I know it's a green team for sure. But they both played on the same team at the same time, and Zach had a pretty successful mini tour career, and I don't know if he's still playing golf or not, but a lot of golf talent in that family. So good luck to Mosley alum Noah Zedeker and the rest of the North Georgia team in that Division II Golf National Championship. Speaking of national championships, the softball super regionals are going to get underway this Friday. The regionals transpired over last weekend into earlier this week, and coming out of the Norman regional, you had Oklahoma, and then coming out of the Clemson regional, you had Clemson, who beat Auburn there in that championship game to move on to the super regionals. That is in Norman, Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's lost 1 game this year so far. Just unbelievable. They're trying to go back to back to back national championships, if I remember that correctly off the top of my head. Who you got in that one, Jay? Oklahoma or Clemson?
I'm going to go with Clemson on that one. I just have a...
That is the most Jay pick I've ever heard. That is for sure. Hey, Linda, you got to love the support you're getting there from Jay Henley.
Yes.
But that would be, I think they're 41-1 or something along those lines, Oklahoma. So pretty bold pick right there, Mr. Henley.
I'm telling you, man.
Without going bold, you don't get any rewards. So.
Yep.
And then you had Stanford, number 9 team in the country, advancing out of the Stanford regional. That had Long Beach State, Lamar University, as well as Florida, and they advanced. They're going to play Duke in the Durham Super Regional starting tomorrow, 12 o'clock. And you got Stanford playing Duke, number 9 versus number 8 seed. Duke came out of the Durham Durham Regional with George Mason, Campbell, and Charlotte. Who do you got in that one, Duke or Clemson? That should be a pretty good best of 3 series.
I like Duke. I did watch a little bit of Duke Saturday. I think they played Saturday. I can't remember who they played, but they look good. So I'm definitely going with Duke there.
And then coming out of the Tuscaloosa regional, you had Alabama advancing. They're going to take on Northwestern, who advanced out of the Evanston regional that they were hosting. It's going to be the number 5 team versus the number 12 team. I'm not sure what the status on Montana Fouts is. David, I don't know if you know anything about that. You might be able to hit that Google machine really quick, but Montana Fouts is a key piece to that Alabama defense, that's for sure, being as good of a pitcher as she is, gold medal winning, top NCAA pitcher for many years. So they're going to have to play Northwestern in Tuscaloosa. Who you got on that one there, Jay?
Man, be smart here. I control your microphone.
He's already said Clemson over Oklahoma, so that went out the window about 3 minutes ago.
If Alabama was playing Darton College, I would go with Darton College.
You mean like Georgia's football schedule? UT Martin, Ball State. Watch out in those first 2 games.
Gotta have fun with it. No, Northwestern. I
like it.
Yeah, I'm going Northwestern.
Wildcats taking down those. I'm
not putting my money on Alabama.
So according to Fan Nation, she was actually available for the regionals, but they're weighing the possibilities of utilizing her in the super regionals.
Gotcha. Probably depending on how that first game goes and trying to save her up. She must not. I don't know. They never really disclosed what happened, did they? They've kind of been keeping it pretty close to the vest. Alabama's good at that, though. They kept that gambling close to the vest for a long time, but then it got out.
It got out.
Anonymous source. But so Jay's taking the Northwestern to upset Alabama in the Tuscaloosa.
Is Northwestern in Washington? No, I'm just kidding.
You got to hit him with the crickets. Do you know where Northwestern is?
I do.
Okay.
But growing up,
what state is it in, Jay?
It's in Illinois.
There you go. Okay, good.
Illinois,
as Coach Hale says. Yes.
But no, I mean, Northwestern. Growing up, as you grow older, you realize that there's a big world out there.
There is a big world out there beyond the rivers that surround the beautiful state of Georgia.
There you go. And but yeah, Northwestern. Growing up, always like, man, that's got to be in Seattle.
You would think.
Just
geography tells you so.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm with you on that one. I had the pleasure when I was with Kemper Sports many years ago at one of our conferences. Pat Fitzgerald was our keynote speaker in that one, and man, I became a huge Pat Fitzgerald fan. Talk about a motivational speech and just a great leader. And he continues to do amazing things with that football program, even though they just don't get the recruits that everybody else does. And he'd probably go somewhere else if he wanted to, a big time Power 5 school, but he's a Northwestern alum. I think he played linebacker there. Just an awesome guy. Anyway, advancing over to the Knoxville Super Regional. We'll talk about baseball later at 12:40 if we have some time. But the Texas A&M Aggies upset and knocked out Tennessee out of the SEC tournament yesterday. But that's baseball. We're talking about softball. So you got number 13 Texas, who advanced out of their regional over Seton Hall, Texas State, and Texas A&M, playing the number 4 seed Tennessee Volunteers in Knoxville. 4 versus 13. Who you got? You got the Longhorns or you got the Volunteers?
Well, I mean, obviously, you would think there'd be a lot of people show up in Knoxville for that one, so you got to go home team. I'm going Tennessee.
I think you're going to get a lot of people show up for the Super Regionals.
Yeah.
It's typically how it goes.
Yeah, but a lot of Tennessee Volunteer.
Yeah, well, I don't know how many people are making the trip from Austin up to Rocky Top.
I wouldn't think a lot.
Rocky Top.
I mean, yeah. Dollywood's right down the road.
That is true. Yeah. Dollywood's a cool spot.
Yeah.
That is pretty neat, though, that Tennessee and Texas are going to be playing, and that's a preview of 2024 little SEC battle there.
That's right. That's coming up soon before we know it.
Yeah.
Oklahoma and, man, football is going to be one thing, but dang, softball and baseball, man, the SEC is already so strong in those sports. It's just going to continue to get crazier. And then we moving on to the other side of the bracket. As we know, Florida State advanced out of the Tallahassee Regional, winning that last game 1-0 against South Carolina on the heels of a perfect game to advance to the Super Regionals. You got Florida State sold out their Super Regional games in 1 minute. The Tallahassee faithful will be out in full force starting this Friday. They're going against your Georgia Bulldogs, who came out of the Athens Regional against NC Central, Boston University, and Virginia Tech. That sounds like your football schedule right there. So you got the number 3 team in the country going against number 14 team, Georgia Bulldogs. Who do you got in that one?
Man, this is,
if you took Clemson against Oklahoma, you really have no choice here but to take your Dogs.
I know, but I mean,
Florida State's going to wipe the floor with them.
Well, that's the thing. The fan base in Tallahassee, I mean, the softball, I see it on Facebook. I mean, I do. I've got friends that just absolutely love women's softball in
It's
FSU.
so much fun to watch, especially the Seminoles. They're just fantastic.
But I'm going with the Dogs.
There you go.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. I should be writing these down, but we'll just go back and watch it again.
Well, yeah.
All right, then you got the Fayetteville Regional. See, fun fact about college football. When I came to my first Auburn game, when I jumped into that Auburn because of Beth, so I became a huge Auburn fan, and they play that and they do A-U-B, and then I found out it was Georgia's fight song too. I was like, this doesn't even make sense. I don't get it.
That was like one of the things back in the day when you're playing NCAA football on the Xbox or PlayStation. You hear one and you'll be like, wait, that sounds all very similar to this school's fight song, you know? So, yeah, very funny.
Well, be prepared. Friday is Georgia Bulldog Day. I got Michael Shears coming. There's going to be a Go Dogs and some barking going on in the studio Friday.
There you go.
Is that all right, Ron?
No, that's fine. I mean, Georgia fans are prevalent down here.
That's true.
And you got Rob, who calls in every morning on the Coach James Hale show. He's a huge Georgia Bulldog because Coach Hale will never talk about Georgia. So he has to bring it in and talk about it, even though they're back-to-back defending football national champions.
And barking will be fine as long as you wear our bark collar that we've got for you.
Yes, specifically for Georgia fans.
Yes, sir.
But yes, moving down, you had the Fayetteville Regional, which I think David might have called this one on his show. I was listening to it one afternoon. Arkansas was the host in that regional. Again, the Fayetteville regional. Arkansas, Harvard, Notre Dame, and Oregon actually advanced out of that regional. Not ranked in the top 25 not ranked in the top 20 for however they do this. They're going to be taking on Oklahoma State, the number 6 team in the country. They advanced out of the Stillwater Regional, and they'll be hosting the Stillwater Super Regional. So who you got in that one? OK State or Oregon?
I'll go with the Ducks on that one. Yeah.
Bo Nix, Heisman favorite. You heard it here first. Put your money in. And then you had the don't forget.
It's going to be like Shattuck all over again.
No, it's not.
You're right.
Bo Nix has a legitimate shot.
That's 100%
Shattuck,
true.
He did not. Imagine if you would have picked Michael Block.
I would be the smartest man alive right now.
You would be viral all over this dang place.
I know.
You were so close.
I was.
You just picked the wrong one.
I did. And I'm so close. But
I thought about that. That would have been epic.
It would have been.
All right, we'll blow through these real quick. You got 2 more. You had Washington advance out of the Seattle Regional. They're going to be taking on Louisiana, not LSU, who was the host of the Baton Rouge Regional. The Raging Cajuns advanced out of that one. Kind of an upset there for sure, taking on the number 7 Washington Huskies. Who do you got that one, Jay?
Water's probably a little cleaner in Louisiana. I'm going with Louisiana.
There you go. You heard it here first. Louisiana water is cleaner than Washington. Seattle water. Then you got the Salt Lake City Regional. You had Utah advance out of that, number 15 team in the country. They're going to be taking on San Diego State, who, again, kind of upset their regional by beating UCLA, who was the favorite in that one. They're going to be taking on the Utah Utes. So you got Utah hosting San Diego State in the last super regional of the NCAA softball bracket.
Ronnie B called in from San Diego.
Yes.
And I'm going San Diego State.
There you go. We'll recap these, and when we get back to the show next week, we'll see how well Jay did. Couple upsets. I know he picked Clemson, he picked Georgia, picked Oregon, picked Louisiana because of that clean water, and then, of course, the San Diego State. When we get back at the top of the hour, we'll be joined by Keith Fleming, our weekly contributor. Get your DraftKings apps out. We're going to be talking all sorts of PGA Championship because there's so much fun stuff to talk about.
Yes.
You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be back in the afternoon.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The tradition continues.
That ball's going to be out of here.
America's team plays here.
Bombs away.
The Atlanta Braves are back and making statements.
Ronald Acuna just clobbered one to left.
Listen to Atlanta Braves baseball in a rich audio experience live on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Here comes the thunder.
Sponsored by Gilbert Kia, Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, Mid-South Lumber, Stormore Portable Buildings, and Brock Pest Control.
Good morning. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Wednesday's weather forecast. A variety of clouds and likely thunderstorms this afternoon and evening with a high near 78 and a wind between 10 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies tonight, a light breeze and a temperature of 67. About the same tomorrow, around 81 with sunshine. Quite warm with a high around 80 and sunny Friday. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumberyard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
It's time for the 2023 Southern Lights Talent Event. We're looking for local artists, including singers, musicians, comedians, any family-friendly talent that wants to take their talent to the next level. $10,000 in cash, recording deals, Chipola scholarships, video specials, all going to talented people from all over the tri-state area. We're also looking for sponsors, people and businesses that want to support local artists and make an impact on their community. Auditions are going on right now, so check us out today at southernlights.cc.
1, 2.
I'm in love with a man named Rudy. I'm okay with that. He knows exactly what I want. Keeps me coming back. Cooks breakfast, lunch, and dinner for me. Does the dishes too. I'm in love with a man named Rudy. Last name Barbecue. It sure is easy to fall in love with Rudy's tasty oak smoked barbecue.
Next in line.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, WVLQ Port St. Joe. You gotta fight!
ESPN Northwest Florida.
We're starting fresh.
Fresh new start.
Locally sourced, Farm to Radio. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey is live and local. From the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios. On ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. It is now the afternoon here in the beautiful central time zone in the Florida Panhandle, which a lot of people don't even realize. I didn't realize when I first came down here for the first time from the Eastern time zone in South Carolina that I came into Florida Panhandle and my phone changed. I was like, wait, this is Central Time? And then I realized how much I love Central Time.
Yes.
And the water's clean here in the Florida Panhandle too versus Northwest of the country.
It is.
Not to be confused with Illinois and those purple Northwestern Wildcats. So, again, you're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida, sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. Listening local and live on 104.3 in Panama City, 101.9 along the Forgotten Coast, as well as 102.1 up there in Mariana, all the way to Dothan. Don't know if that tower's been fixed yet, but when it is fixed, we will be ready.
Yes,
the tower is up now, so we're inching closer.
That's impressive.
As long as it's ready for high school football here in the next few months.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And you can listen live and watch live, even though we do have Faces for Radio on Facebook, YouTube, as well as Twitch. Just search ESPN Northwest Florida. Visit us on ESPNPC.com. Click that Listen Live button. And then last but not least, download that free mobile app inside the Google Play or Apple Store. Keith, I hope you're excited for a big one today because we are in rare form this morning. Jay's talking about dirty water in Washington and clean water in Louisiana. So we are excited to recap the PGA. We are now joined by Keith Fleming. He is our regular Wednesday contributor. He's a writer for Fantasy Stickback, director for daily fantasy sports content for Fantasy and Frames, as well as host of Two Off the Tee. Keith, how are you doing on this beautiful Wednesday?
What's up, guys? How you doing? Great tournament last weekend. Love the majors, man.
Man, majors are awesome. We're excited to talk about it with you and then get ready for the really powerful Charles Schwab Invitational, which is now featuring PGA professional Michael Block.
That's right. Can we start with our teams we drafted?
Yes, because been anticipating this one big time. Yes. And if it's Jay, I'm just going to walk out and let him finish the show.
Well, I'm going to go in the order that they finished. We'll start with first place, and I want to congratulate my man Ryan, who proved the wealth of knowledge he has about the game of golf.
That's right.
He had all 6 golfers make the cut. The only person who did that.
Good for you,
and
Ryan.
He was -8. He had 3 players under par. He actually had really 5 players that were all within like the top, I think, 20 in the tournament. He had
they had good final rounds.
+2, Cantley -1, Finau +15, Cam Smith -1, Scheffler -7. Second place, your boy, KC. Keith, I came in second. I had 2 guys miss the cut, so I really honestly got lucky, but Rahm at +7, Rory at -2, Reed at +2, and Morikawa at +4. In third place, Jay Henley with a Hovland -7. JT +12, Fleetwood +2. He did have 3 guys miss the cut, so he got the +5 added on. Unfortunately, Fitz, Henley, and Shattuck all missed the cut.
Shattuck just missed it by a couple.
He did.
Just a few. And then Allen really showing how unfair this is. He had the winner, Koepka, at -9. Had 5 out of 6 guys make the cut, but the rest of his little boys did not do well. Neiman missed the cut. Homa and DJ were both at +9. Keith Mitchell at +10. And Thigala at +6. So congrats to Ryan. It's something I want to do for the other 2 majors moving forward. And hopefully I'll get that W back. Jay, don't take any more guys from off the board, because if you'd have just had one other serious golfer there, who knows?
Hey, are you calling Shattuck Shattuck not serious?
Boy, I tell you what.
Well, the fact that we didn't know how to pronounce his name is normally not a good sign.
Yeah, that's usually not starting off well.
I was 1 out of 20 picking the club a club pro, and if I would have picked Block, it's like me and Ryan were talking about off the air. That could have blew up into something pretty spectacular, but I would have been the smartest man alive.
I would rather you pick Block. Yeah, I would rather you pick Block because all of our wallets would be fatter, right. Today. So.
Yeah.
300 to 1 to top 15, I think is what it was.
Oh my gosh,
pretty solid.
Yeah,
but yeah, Keith, go ahead and let's recap this PGA Championship.
Man, just Brooks is back. It's really amazing. I think what was most impressive was just the fact that once he got in the lead going, into the weekend, I think it was like early Saturday, he took the lead. Everyone I talked to was like, oh, he's going to win. And in the game of golf, that's so rare. I really only think of like Tiger that has status like that where it's like it's a foregone conclusion, especially in a tournament that was, had a lot of big names near the top. It wasn't like he had a huge lead until the end. With this win, he joins Jack and Tiger as the only players in the modern era, and what I mean by that have won 3 PGA championships that were stroke play. The PGA used to be a match play event. He did it by shooting 72 the first round and then just playing unbelievable golf the rest of the way. 66, 66, 67. Well-deserved. He became the first player in tour history to win 3 majors in one state other than the state of Georgia. Obviously, we don't count that because of the Masters. He became the 20th player in the history of the game to win 5+ majors. The last was Phil Mickelson in 2013. There are now only 14 players in the history of the game of golf with more majors than Brooks Koepka. This is his 5th top 5 at the PGA in the last 9 years, which is just absolutely ridiculous. And he is the 10th player since 1960 to win 3 of one of the 4 majors. I want to go over this list just really quick because it kind of shows the company's in. Jack and Tiger did it for all 4, which is ridiculous in itself. Gary Player, the Masters and the Open. Tom Watson, the Open. Arnold Palmer, the Masters. Nick Faldo, the Masters and the Open. Phil Mickelson, the Masters. Seve Ballesteros, the Open. Hal Irwin, the only one to do it in the U.S. Open other than Jack and Tiger. And Brooks Koepka now at the PGA. Again, the only guy other than Tiger and Jack to do it at the PGA. Just amazing stuff. But I think what we'll remember from this major is not Brooks Koepka. It's going to be Michael Block.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, he certainly, as you put it, stole the show. There's no doubt, and I don't think Brooks cares one bit.
Right.
No, he does not, as he showed at the Florida Panthers game the next night where he looked like he had been up for 48 hours. What I took from Block is, we live in a world now that is so focused at winning at all costs. I joked that Ricky Bobby's quote, "If you ain't first, you're last," is sadly a real thing in America in 2023, and I'm really hopeful that Block's performance reminded people that winning is not everything. Success doesn't have to be defined by being first at anything. There are ways to win without winning, if that makes sense. I do want to real quickly say it was the 3rd best finish by a PGA Club Pro in the history of the PGA Championship, and the first Club Pro to finish inside the top 20 in 37 years. So truly remarkable stuff by Michael Block. I think that I heard you guys talking earlier. He definitely deserved the exemptions. It was smart by the PGA Tour to ride this wave. And I'm going to tell you, I actually do like him having a successful week this week at the tournament, the Charles Schwab, because the course is going to play firm and fast, which again, I think that's going to play to his advantage. He doesn't drive it by PGA Tour standards a really long way. It's a course that you can only hit it about 280 on, I believe it's like 6 of the par 4s and par 5s before you run into trouble. So a lot of players are going to be hitting to the same area. And just, I mean, how can you not have confidence after, having the week he did, and then to do it on Saturday with Justin Rose and on Sunday with Rory McIlroy, and then that up and down on 18 was just, I mean, you want to talk about a pressure-packed moment, not just for the money, but knowing he's automatically in the PGA Championship. And we know that, finishing in the top 20 is not a guarantee. I don't care how good of a PGA, club pro you are, and getting that invite to the PGA Championship.
No, and he's, as you were talking, I was looking up some odds through what I use to see what his top finishes were. I mean, and he's got lower odds to finish in the top 10 than Troy Merritt, Kevin Kisner, Luke Donald, Rory Sabatini, Eric Compton, and Kyle Westermoreland, some of the more familiar names out there, which is pretty crazy. And then also similar guys to finish in the top 5. So pretty incredible the run he's on, that's for sure.
But do you think, Keith, I'm kind of thinking about this. We talked to the secretary of the PGA, Nathan Sharns, on Friday, and we were talking about how the industry's changing, the golf industry, and how it's allowing our members to get out, play golf with customers, clients. Really play a lot more golf, I guess, since COVID hit a few years ago. So the industry is changing. Do you think this is kind of a one-hit wonder with Block, or do you think this is something that could be consistent as we move further on and the PGA continues to grow and members are out maybe playing a little more golf than they were 20 years ago?
I think just as a whole, golfers continue to get greater. In general, you look at the depth on the PGA Tour, and if somebody loves the game of golf and still wants that to be a part of their life, day in and day out, but they, can't make it as a professional, at least not immediately, I think it's, you are going to see more of it because, I watch some of these junior tournaments they have up at my club. It's unbelievable how many kids, in like that 13 to 18-year-old range can play. And not all of them are going to make them to the tour, and some of them may want to still pursue golf. This is a way to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that's something they're doing. It was, I was an assistant professional for about 5.5 years, and part of the reason I got out of it was because, there's this notion you get to play golf all the time. That's not true. You're working a ton of hours, you're teaching.
Yeah.
And
unless you're
it's
Jay.
Good that they're playing. Yeah, but I mean, Jay's the man, so that's understandable. But you just, I do think that we're going to see more of this because I just think there's better players now. Like I watched a little bit of the PGA. They do the final of the Club Pro on Golf Channel, which I enjoy every year, and a lot of those guys can really play. The biggest thing is he had numerous experiences in playing PGA events. A lot of people don't know he played in 2 earlier events this year. He didn't make the cut. So I don't think he was as uncomfortable or as nervous as most PGA club pros would be because, I mean, my hands would be shaking so bad. I don't even know if I can get the ball off first tee.
Right. Yeah. No, I appreciate your perception. I think you're right, Keith. I think you're going to kind of see a lot more of this as we continue on. I'm rooting for Block this week, obviously, as we move into the Charles Schwab Cup. That's such a cool invite there, and I watched that as he took that phone call. It was pretty cool. But yeah, man. What's your thoughts on Block this week?
I have them as 11-1 to top 20. I kind of like the odds of that, just riding this train. And again, if this was a lot of other courses that they play on tour, I wouldn't feel as good about it. But they're saying the course is going to play firm and fast. This is a course that the winning score rarely gets too deep. You're looking probably around 10 to 14 under. That wins the tournament more times than not. And the big issue, I think, for Block would be kind of like at the PGA is if, the scores are going to be in like the, 18 to 23, 24 under, let's be serious. He's not going to be able to go out and shoot 65, 66, 60. That's just not going to happen. But I do think you can get to 6, 7 under, which, that could potentially be a top 20. So I think there's a lot crazier bets than you can make them block, and there's nobody that I would rather root for right now in the game than a guy who, just earned life-changing money, and it was a real victory for the PGA of America because, this tournament is about the profession of being a PGA club pro, and then to have one of them do so well and beat so many of the top players in the world, I mean, it's literally like a movie script. The hole-in-one was, where probably somebody, if it was a movie script, would go, okay, this is getting a little out of hand. It was a wonderful story, and I'm really rooting for the guy. And, I mean, I don't think he has anything to lose, which is the best part about it.
Yeah, I mean, and you're probably going to have a Michael Block documentary coming out. You guys were talking about something there when I was listening. The rare time I get to listen when there's other people on the line besides just me and Jay sitting here in the studio. Is you talked about he's not going to go out there and shoot 24 under, and I think that's what's so awesome about when they make a golf course so difficult. You referred to the PGA Championship as U.S. Open Light. When you have a golf course that's really difficult for these guys that are on tour that play week in and week out, that's very different than what they're used to. Not that the golf courses they're playing aren't difficult, but you know what I mean. They're not set up as difficult as the PGA Championship does. So when you throw a guy like Michael Block or these other PGA members, that they play golf obviously all the time. They're playing in tour events. Michael Block has played in 25 PGA Tour events, made 5 cuts. Their expectations are complete, and I don't think they're as damaged, but I mean, he was the only PGA professional to make the cut. But you have much more of a chance competing on a very, very difficult golf course, just like when you have 2 football teams playing. Maybe one's a lot better than the other, and the other one's not so good, but it's pouring rain, which is very difficult. You see it become a lot more even, and that's why I think Michael Block obviously had a lifetime week. But if you can just go out there and hit fairways and hit greens and, just shoot even par in the first 2 rounds, get it to 3 under, and then go back to even par, and then kind of hang around there all day, just shows that these guys have the talent, and they may not be as affected as much by the difficulty of the golf course as your week in, week out PGA Tour professional.
Absolutely, and I wish that the PGA would start putting more of an emphasis on driving the ball straight, because it's completely lost. I mean, in today's game, it's just bomb and gouge, right? And this was one of those tournaments where if you miss fairways, you probably weren't going to be able to hit the green. And I think that if the PGA would get back to where, I'm not saying they have to have like U.S. Open rough every week, but at least to where it's penalizing. Players, when they miss a fairway, it's going to open up the field to different types of golfers than just the guys that are the most physically gifted, which I feel like that is kind of the case a majority of PGA events, at this time in 2023.
Well, and I think, everybody's talking about the ball rollback. We had a chance to briefly ask Nathan Charnes, Secretary of the PGA of America, about the ball rollback. And I'm hoping it won't get passed. I don't think it will, especially with the backlash that it's created. But don't roll the ball back. Just make more golf courses playable like the PGA Championship is. Tighten those fairways. Make the rough longer. You've got other ways to make it more difficult. And everybody wants to see people make birdies and hit the ball a mile. Well, I think people like to see PGA professionals struggle a little bit too.
Well, they just like it to be competitive, and honestly, they've said this about the Masters at times, tiger-proofing the course to where when you just make a course longer, which is what they keep doing, you're actually eliminating more and more guys in the field having a chance of winning. And you're making a smaller and smaller group that realistically has a chance. And it's going to be the guys that hit it the furthest. And, as somebody like me who does not hit the ball a long way, but I can play golf at a high level, and the key to my game is I hit a lot of fairways and I hit a lot of greens. So I just wish they would make it to where it's not, just hit it as far as you can, and then you're going to wedge it up there whether you're in the fairway or the rough, and, actually make these guys, to your point, hit fairways. Just make it to where, like at one of our home courses, you can't hit dry rough a lot of tees because there's a hazard or trouble, at a certain point.
Yeah.
And, that's another way that you can kind of make golf, golfers not just bomb and gouge, is by, the way you set up the actual golf course.
Yeah, and they're the one that's controlling, obviously your big box retailers and, your big companies selling drivers and stuff like that. If we can start focusing on the accuracy part, and then the marketing the marketing folks with these big companies will start, kind of dialing that back with who's got the longest driver on tour. I mean, it's they're controlling it. So let's start talking about accuracy and not distance.
That's right. Twist face.
Exactly.
Twist face.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, Keith, we got a break coming up. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We're joined on the line by Keith Fleming. He's a writer for Fantasy Six Pack, director for daily fantasy sports content for Fantasy and Frames, as well as host of Two Off the Tee. You can follow him at Keith Fleming. They've got all sorts of awesome stuff, and you don't just cover golf, you cover all sorts of sports and a lot of football talk coming up as well. But when we get back, I know you got a question on the list that I want to get involved in, and that's those ratings of the PGA Championship, because I have some thoughts on that for sure. Again, you're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 in Panama City, 101.9 in Port St. Joe, and 102.1 all the way up there in Mariana, going to Dothan, including Southwest Georgia. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
Yo, dog. Out of Iowa. He went all the way to the cornfields to get him. He's like, man, you want to play real football? Come to Georgia.
Well, I told everybody. I said his leg will be fresh for the NFL. Georgia hardly ever punts.
Hey,
I don't know.
He's got something building right now. That Riola.
Weekday morning 7 to 9. ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida with your Wednesday's weather. The rest of the day, there will be a moderate breeze out of the northeast, a mixture of clouds and likely thunderstorms, and 78. Partly cloudy skies tonight, a bit cooler at 67. Tomorrow, sunny and a gentle breeze right around 10 miles per hour with a high of 81. About the same at 80 Friday, and we'll have sunshine. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Medicare may be confusing, but it doesn't have to be. My name is Michael Deniston. I'm an agent producer authorized to offer AARP Medicare plans from United Healthcare Insurance Company right here in Panama City. I'd be happy to help you better understand Medicare, your coverage options, and discover what may make AARP Medicare plans from United Healthcare a great choice for you. Call me today, Michael Deniston, 850-271-4389. That's 850-271-4389, so you can decide on a plan with confidence. That's 850-271-4389. Michael Deniston. Thank you.
United Healthcare Insurance Company or an affiliate pays royalty fees to AARP. AARP is not an insurer and does not employ or endorse agents, producers, or brokers. AARP encourages you to consider your needs when selecting products and does not make product recommendations for individuals.
So hot.
It'll be a hot one. Really hot. Goddamn.
The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Notorious indeed.
Yes.
Golfwithj.com. You are listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida, sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. Don't forget, today is Wednesday, and that means the afternoon underdogs will be live from Dave & Buster's. You can join David, Kyle, Amanda, Adam, and a crew of cast of sports fanatics. It's every Wednesday from 4 to 6. You can enjoy half-price cocktails, half-price games, and they'll be giving away some cool Dave & Buster's swag and maybe even some swag from ESPN Northwest Florida. And then also don't forget, hopefully the Braves can avoid the sweep tonight against the Dodgers, as ESPN Northwest Florida is your home for the Atlanta Braves. They've got another big game coming up tonight. Coverage starts right after that afternoon underdog show from Dave & Buster's at 6 p.m. with the first pitch being at 6:20. Hopefully the Bravos can avoid the sweep, Jay.
I tell you, looking at the past, they've lost a few of them, like they've been swept 3 or 4 times, I think. Yeah, so we'll see.
I don't know how many 3-game series there are in one season. I know there's 162 games, so you're bound to get swept every once in a while, even if you're the best team in the country, that's for sure.
But we're not getting swept.
No sweep tonight. No brooms tonight.
Nope.
Again, we are joined by Keith Fleming. He's a writer for Fantasy Six Pack, director for Daily Fantasy Sports Content for Fantasy and Frames, as well as host of 2 Off the Tee. You can follow him on Twitter at Keith Fleming. All right, Keith, let's talk about that question on there, the ratings for the PGA Championship. Jump into those a little bit because I've definitely got some opinions on it.
They were really down, which was surprising to me. If you go back to 2019, which with the exception of COVID year 2020, they've all been in May. So, 2019 was the first. 5 million in 2019, 5.15 million in 2020, 6.5 million in 2021. No surprise, Phil Mickelson, the oldest guy to win a major. 5.2 million last year with JT and Mito, not exactly a star-studded leaderboard, and then down to 4.5 million on Sunday this year. When I thought it was obviously an amazing event. My first, nobody's been able to explain to me. I think it's just streaming, and more people stream.
That's one of my opinions for sure.
Events. Is it really? Yeah, because that does not account for that, and I'm sure a lot of people watched it on ESPN Plus or CBS app, etc.
Yeah, and I think they're going to have to change how these rating works because we continue to move more and more to streaming services. I know I was streaming it on the CBS Sports app while I was at the Rocket City Trash Pandas game when you guys were texting me every 30 seconds. Luckily, I didn't get hit with, and I happened to stream it right before Michael Block hit that hole-in-one, so that was exciting. Yeah. So I think that's definitely, I definitely think that attributes to that for sure. My other opinion is because Brooks was most likely going to win the thing. I think there's just people that won't watch live players play golf. As simple as that.
Did you just say that?
Yeah, because I know it's a fact. I think it's complete nonsense that you would not watch great golf because of, your, I don't know if that's a political view or not, because if you really dive down into that, there's probably a lot of hypocrisy out there. Even the PGA Tour has ties. LPGA Tour, that has tons of ties.
Right.
But I think there's people that just won't watch it. Simply, I had people comment on my Facebook post that said, I just hate Brooks because he's a live golfer.
Wow. What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's ridiculous. I'm somebody who is not a big fan of what those guys did. I argue it's not good for the game of golf, and for most of them to be already so well off. I think it's greedy that they kind of turn their backs on the thing that's made them all filthy rich. But having said that, I'm going to watch. I even check out some of the live events. So I just think people are being ridiculous. And that's just kind of the world we live in, though, where people dig in and, you can't change anybody's opinion on anything these days, which is not, the best world to live in.
Yeah, and if you have a different opinion than somebody, you can't be right.
Yeah, you're done.
Me and Jay somehow get along beautifully. We have different opinions about everything.
We do.
He thinks the water in Louisiana is nicer than the water in Washington, and I may disagree with that, I may not, but I respect his opinion.
That's right.
All good.
Yeah, I don't know. Koepka, I'm kind of with you on that. Koepka, I didn't watch the last 4 or 5 holes. I think once Victor kind of, dumped it in the lip of the bunker, I basically just, flip station, whatever. I don't know what I started watching after that, but yeah, I'm with you. Koepka's to me can be a little boring. Watching.
Yeah, hitting fairways, hitting greens, and making birdies? Yeah, that's super boring.
That's a little boring, but...
that's what you're supposed to do, right?
That is what you're
Okay, I didn't know. I forgot. I don't know how to do that.
At least Tiger and Phil hit it all over the lot,
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
Right, yeah.
It is true.
Anyways.
I would flip it. And I don't, the ratings, obviously, I still think a lot of that has to do with streaming. But I would also flip it and say when you have these live guys that are doing so well in these major championships this year, I think that might add to people tuning in because it creates parity. And parity in sports is what we live for. No pun intended. You see what I did there, Jay?
I did.
That was solid. That was one of my better ones. But I think you have people tune in maybe to see the live guys not do so well. How many people were probably pulling for Victor Hovland? I know Jay was. That's his buddy for sure.
Yeah.
That was a radio. I made the Victor Hovland face. That's only for the Facebook streaming there.
I love it, man. I love it.
But yeah, what do you think about Eki? I mean, you think it's, I know a lot of people say it's not good for the game, but it creates more conversation about the game, so in turn more people are talking about it. But Michael Block definitely stole the show, that's for sure.
For sure. And well, he should have. I mean, it's amazing as what Koepka did. It's rarer for a PGA club pro to do what he did.
Even if Tiger Woods, go 10 years ago, and that was Tiger Woods,
I agree.
I still think it would have been Michael Block's show. No doubt, in my opinion.
Completely agree. I made that same argument to someone on social media just yesterday.
Yeah. It's a valid argument.
Yeah.
All right, let's pivot and jump into your plays for the. I did have one comment. I saw your notes. I did have one comment. Want to get y'all's opinion on this real quick. Scotty Scheffler was asked about being the number one player in the world, and he said it's nice, but I don't really care about it. I mean, when Tiger was number one, and these guys, number one is what you wanted to be. Do you think there's less emphasis on it because now you've got this group of elite golfers that's not getting world ranking points for the tournaments they're playing in, even though they obviously, when they play in majors, they're getting, Brooks is ranked 13th in the world basically on the heels of his Masters performance and then winning the PGA Championship. But do you think that's diluted the importance of the world golf rankings a little bit?
Well, first of all, I think he's lying. There's no way he doesn't care about being number one in the world. I mean, that's always something that you aspire to be. We've heard over and over again when guys reach number one in the world, it's always been a dream of theirs to reach that point. The bigger issue is Jon Rahm has won 4 events since January. How is he not the number one player in the world? Scotty Scheffler hadn't won a major this year, and he has not won 4 times since January. That's my bigger issue with the world golf rankings, is they just don't really make a lot of sense to me.
No, they don't. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, and Tiger, had the number one, ranking there for God knows how many years, and he was the villain. Everybody was after him. Nobody's after anybody right now because everybody's hitting the ball the same distance. Everybody's, it's all about the stats and all that kind of stuff, but everybody was after Tiger back then. Nobody's after anybody anymore.
No one's ever going to beat Tiger.
Well, Tiger, in fairness, was winning 27% of the events he played in for like a 7-year stretch. So, it's a lot easier to hate somebody when, more than 1 out of every 4 they're picking up a W.
683 total weeks as the number one ranked player in the world.
Ridiculous.
281 consecutive weeks. Nuts.
It's insane.
How many years is that?
Can you do that, man?
Yeah, that's over 10 years.
No,
that's over
10.
You did good. Yeah, you did good there, Jay. You did good. 52 times 10. Way to go.
There you go. That's right. That is not Common Core math, by the way.
That's true. All right, let's jump into the Charles Schwab Invitational, your DraftKings plays. I'm getting my app open as we speak.
Same.
You got it. Real quickly recap on last week. Not a stellar week for me from the standards I set for myself. Only 6 of 10 guys from my lineup made the cut. It did include Koepka, which is great anytime you have the winner. That's the 4th straight week the eventual winner was included in my 10 DK plays. In my DFS article you can find on fantasy6pack.net. It's a great website. Go check it out. My best winning bet last week was Sepp Straka, 9-1 to top 20. But this week we're moving on to the Charles Schwab Challenge at Colonial Country Club. This is the 77th time a PGA event has been held at Colonial, which is just an unbelievable stat. 8 of the top 20 players in the world are teeing it up this week, which shows how, kind of historic this venue is, that you get that many guys attracted to it, especially sandwiched in between the PGA Championship and Memorial. Colonial is a classical tree-lined golf course. It's, positional. You got to hit it in the right spots. Par 70, just over 7,200 yards. It stood the test of time. It really has, and challenged the field year after year. It keeps scores in checks. We've had a lot of dramatic finishes, i.e. Scotty Scheffler, Sam Burns playoff last year. The winning score has pushed beyond -15 only twice since 2011. And again, it's going to be firm and fast. They haven't received a lot of rain in Texas recently, so I expect, again, that score to be around like 10 to 14 under. Course history is the big thing this week. Some weeks it's, a bigger factor. Other times it's a huge factor. This is one of those where it's a really big factor. Of the last 8 winners of this event, 5 had posted a top 10 or better finish within 3 years prior. Justin Rose was the only winner who is making his debut in 2018 at the venue. Guys that have finished top 10 or better the last 3 years. So there's a good chance with that, trend, one of these guys is going to end up winning the event this week. It's Jordan Spieth, Tony Finau, Justin Rose, Emiliano Grillo, Colin Morikawa, Brian Harmon, Brendan Todd, Charlie Hoffman, Sungjae Im, Davis Riley, Cam Davis, Scotty Scheffler, Sam Burns, Troy Merritt, Scott Stallings, and Patton Kazir. The comp courses, I really leaned heavily into Whaley Country Club, where they have the Sony Open, and Pebble Beach, because they've already had those events this year, so it's easy to kind of, see how did the guys in the field do at those two similar venues. The key stats, strokes gained approach, screen and regs gained, par 4 scoring 350 to 450 yards, proximity from 125 to 200, good drives gained, and driving actually is big this week. Obviously, strokes gained putting on bent greens, and then doubles avoided, because there is a lot of big numbers here, course comp and course history. All right, DK lineup. My official lineup this week got Jordan Spieth anchoring at 9,900. I didn't see any signs last week of the wrist injury that honestly kept me away from him. It made him miss the Brian Nelson the week before the PGA. I think he's at a really great price. He's had 4 straight top 10 finishes at Colonial. He gained nearly 9 shots last week off the tee and approach at the PGA Championship. It's shocking to say this, but we've reached a peak where Spieth can putt well. He's going to do well. It used to be, the opposite, where if he could just find a fairway and hit a little bit more greens, you knew he was going to win because he's such a great putter, but he has gained over 16 shots in the field and putting at this venue alone the last 3 years. I think he has a great chance of winning. Justin Rose, who I mentioned, won in 2018, is second, 9,300. He has 2 other top 20 finishes in his 5 appearances other than the win. He's in great recent form, 4 top 25s, 2 top 10s in his last 5 starts on tour. He played great, obviously, at the PGA last week. In those 5 events, Rose is averaging over a shot in strokes gained, tee to green approach around the greens, and putting. When a guy is doing that, they're playing very well. And for, again, a course that is, going to play a little more difficult than your normal PGA event, that's a good sign. I am going back with Ricky Fowler in this lineup, 8,900. He has 3 top 30 finishes at this event, including a top 10 in 2015. And just a reminder, in non-major events, Fowler has 6 top 20s in his last 8 starts, and his worst finish is T31. My favorite play, I think, this week, Brandon Todd, 7,800. I mentioned the stat earlier when discussing the course that a majority of the recent winners had a top 10 at this venue in the 3 previous years. Well, how about Todd's had back-to-back top 8 finishing T8 and T3 the last 2 years. He putts the best on bent greens. He plays the best in windy conditions. And remember those 2 courses I mentioned, Pebble and Whaley Country Club. He finished 2nd at Pebble Beach and 21st at Whaley Country Club, 2 of the comp courses, so I like that a lot. Eric Cole, 7,200, is the 5th guy in my lineup. Unfortunately, this is his first trip to Colonial, but he continues to be one of the best stories in the game of golf for 2023. He's gone from an unknown to someone who, was tied for the lead of a major championship last week, so he's just been phenomenal. He's in the top 10 in field and strokes gained approach for this event. And again, irons are such a it's a second shot course really more than anything. I really do expect Cole to contend. He's picked up over 5 strokes on the field, tee to green, in 3 of his last 4 events. So again, that ball striking is on. I wouldn't be shocked if he pulls a Justin Rose and ends up winning this event in his first time playing there. And then my cheapest option in my lineup this week is Ben Martin, 6,800. It's been almost 8 years since Martin picked up his first and only PGA win, but he's playing some of his best golf of his career. He has 3 top 10 finishes on the season, including a 13th place finish at the comp course Pebble Beach. He has not played at Colonial since 2018, but he does have 5 career starts there. He has 3 top 30 finishes and a top 10. And again, this is a guy that is playing arguably the best golf of his life. It's a course that even though he hadn't played in a few years, he still really likes it. The other options I have for DK, Sungjae Im, 9,500. Ball striking, I just always think of Sungjae Im. Me and Alan always talk about it. That is a guy that I always have marked, and his price is really low. I'm really shocked he's 9,500. I think he's a real value at that price. Denny McCarthy, 8,700. He has 5 straight finishes of 29th or better on tour, including 3 top 20s. He does not have a great record at this venue, I will admit that, but I think that changes this week. In his last 2 events, guys, he's gained 14.3 total strokes on the field. Wow. One of those was a major, and 12.9 on the green.
Who is this again, Keith? Who was that?
McCarthy.
This is Denny McCarthy. So he is ball
It's like he's not
striking
even
and
paying
putting.
attention, David. I mean,
I'm trying to help the listeners out there.
They're actually
Thank
listening.
you, Jay. No, that's fair. And then Emiliano Grillo, 7,700. He has a really good record at this event. Another ball striker. His issue is almost always putting, but putting is not as big of a stat this week, and he does putt the best on bent greens of the three surfaces. And then last we have Akshay Biate. I probably butchered that name. 6,700. I'm just high on this kid. In any tourney that puts an emphasis on ball striking. He's a really good young ball striker. Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking. In his last two events, he's gained over 12 strokes on the field in tee to green and on approach. 12 strokes. That's an average of 6 strokes, both on tee to green ball striking and on approach shots. So obviously, a lot of these guys are on my bets. To win, I have Spieth 14-1. Rose 25-1, McCarthy 50-1, both Brendan Todd and Eric Cole at 80-1, and then I have the two long shots of Ben Martin 130-1 and Akshay Biate 150-1. Me and Alan talk on Two Off the Tee all the time about trying to find these young golfers with a ton of talent and hope you get lucky, right? And you get them before they get that big win when their odds are really high. Because I think it's coming. Like I would not be shocked if by the end of this year Biate wins an event, and I would be shocked if he hasn't won an event by the end of next year. He's just got a world of talent.
No doubt.
I mentioned Michael Block 11-1 to top 20. I like that a lot. I like Ben Martin at 10-1 to top 10. Matt Neesmith is another one, 9-1.
North Augusta, South Carolina boy. Played at USC.
Is he really?
Oh, yeah, I know Matt well.
That. So, 3 straight top 35 finishes on tour. He's gained over 15 strokes on the field, tee to green in that span. So another guy's just a ball striker. He's also been gaining on the greens in 3 of his last 4. That is something normally Neesmith struggles with, so that's a good sign. And then I have to top 5. I like Brian Harman. Go Dogs. Harman has 2 top 25 finishes here, including a T8 in 2021. He's missed a cut in 4 of his last 5 events. But this is the exact kind of course Harman thrives on. Anytime that you're taking distance away, Brian Harman is one of the first names I think of. And then again, I've got Brandon Todd at 14-1 to top 5, plus 550 to top 10. You don't finish T8, T3 at an event back-to-back years unless you really like that venue. So I do like Brendan Todd a lot this week.
Hey, Keith, great stuff. We appreciate you as always. And, hopefully everybody was listening, unlike Jay, and was writing down the all the picks and all that good stuff. And we'll see
You can text me, Jay.
Okay, I will. You've got an inside connection, that's for sure. Hey, Keith, we appreciate you. Don't forget, you can check out Keith. Just go to Twitter and do @KeithFleming.com. He is the host of Two Off the Tee, as well as a writer for Fantasy Six Pack, director for Daily Fantasy Sports Content for Fantasy and Frames. And check out that website, fantasysixpack.net, and subscribe for all of your inside information on how to win lots of bets. Keith, we look forward to talking to you again next Wednesday. Appreciate you, sir. Have a great weekend.
As always, boys, take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
You are listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be back with our final segment of the day.
ESPN Northwest Florida is already your home for the most live and local sports talk. And now we're taking...
Oh, he got all of that one.
The Inside Drive. Ryan Mulvey, middays, 11-1 inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios. The latest reactions to the biggest stories happening right now. Plus, interviews, sports betting, and your calls.
You gotta be pleased with that.
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
By now, you've heard us talking about Tiger TV Pro. Hi, David Hayes from the Afternoon Underdogs, here to remind you about this incredible streaming service with over 6,000 premium channels. And the cost, you ask? $15 a month. Yes, only $15 a month. Every sports channel is available, including the ACC and SEC Network, the NFL, NBA, MLB, HBO, Showtime, and thousands more. For more info, go to our website at espnpc.com. Scroll down and click the Tiger logo.
Barbaritos lets you say yes to fresh. If you don't know what to eat or where to get it, well, fret no more. Barbaritos is here to help with its healthy menu, offering 7 meals with less than 500 calories. Barbaritos has lots of healthy options made with farm fresh food. Your health and your family's health matters to us. Come eat healthy at Barbaritos, 23rd Street in the Stanford Station Shopping Center near Academy Sports. Barbaritos, food, community, people.
Ben and Deb Collins, owners of Bay Guns and Gear, have been in business since 2010, offering new firearms and accessories with a huge selection available for your hunting needs and personal defense. Turn to Bay Guns and Gear. They have the weapon for you. Discount pricing. And if you can't find what you're looking for, they'll special order it for you. Bay Guns and Gear, across from Grease Pro at 3115 Highway 77. Visit their website, baygunsandgear.com.
You hear it first. Sports talk right now. Back to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
It all seems a bit overwhelming at first.
Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios.
Something makes me think you'll get used to it.
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
Man, the music has been on point today. You let David go, and he just runs with it.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Been a fun show today, talking about water clarity and all sorts of different stuff. But you are listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida, sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. Go check them out over there on 23rd Street. You can give the dealership a call at 850-250-1403. Or you can give Kramer Marine and Outdoor a call at 850-851-0453. Don't forget to visit South Oak Title and Closing for all your real estate closing needs. Your realtor has the choice to choose South Oak, one of the best in the business. There is no doubt about that. Brought up an interesting point. David was asking some questions about major championship venues. I want to get into some college baseball scores and updates here in just a second. But, PGA Championship rotates. It seems to almost be on kind of a 10-year rotation, so to speak. U.S. Open's very similar. Obviously, the Open Championship it rotates around the different countries and the different golf courses over there. And then you got the Masters, which is always at Augusta National. But you had mentioned, and I can't think of any off the top of my head, major championships in the state of Florida. And I'm trying to think why that may be. And my first thought is that
the fifth major.
You've got the fifth major every year at the same venue, and that's TPC Sawgrass, the stadium course over there in Ponte Vedra Beach, just south of Jacksonville. My guess is that's why, because they don't want something else to compete with that, so to speak. And that is a PGA Tour event. Now, there's a lot of PGA Tour events in the state of Florida, but that's my guess why you don't have any major championships in the state of Florida.
Yeah, and most of them are.
And if somebody knows there's one in the state of Florida that's happened, not 100 years ago, but in modern times, please give us a call and let us know.
Yeah, because we have so many private clubs, like Seminole down in South Florida that would, their
membership would never want a major championship there. It's the allure of Seminole Golf Club down there. And, except they did do that match there a couple years ago, which was cool because you actually got to see the golf course.
Right. Yeah, that's true. But I think it's probably more of a northern. Do you think it's a northern thing that the USGA kind of typically does? And I know we're talking about the heat of the summer.
For the Open, for the U.S. Open.
Are we just not getting the love like we are down here in the South?
Well, here's another thought on that is that most of your golf courses that have been around for a really long time didn't start in the state of Florida. Now, Florida has more golf courses per capita than any other state in the country. Right. But your big time private clubs that were built in the early 1900s and that kind of stuff, you talk about Southern Hills out there in Oklahoma, Oak Hill, which we just had, Bethpage Black up there in Farmingdale, New York, just on the very west side of Long Island, plays host to many major championships.
Yeah.
They've hosted PGAs, they've hosted Ryder Cups, I think they've got a Ryder Cup coming up, actually, and they've hosted many U.S. Opens as well. And then, Baltusrol, Marion up there at, that's hosted a lot in Pennsylvania. I think you just got a lot more history. Medina Country Club outside outside of Chicago. Wingfoot up there in New York. I was there when Phil collapsed and hit that one-way left on 18.
Man, that's right. You did tell me that. My God.
And then Jeff Ogilvy won. And everybody's like, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, he blew that thing way left on 18, didn't he? I remember this.
Way left. Way left. Like over the hospitality stuff that was over there.
But the thing is, and that's funny you mentioned that, because the times I've watched Phil live, at East Lake and Augusta, I've followed him around live, and I have yet to see him hit an actual great tee shot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. I promise you. I followed him around for 5 or 6 holes in both of those events, and he never hits the tee shot good. That's how good he is, I guess.
Yeah, he's just got a great recovery game. It's funny you say, I was there at Augusta the year he hit that shot out of the pine straw on 13. He ended up not making eagle, but that was an unbelievable shot. But there you go again. He was in the trees in the pine straw. We got your good buddy on the line. Hef, are you out there? He heard us talking about Brooks Koepka earlier.
Yeah.
He's like, I hate that guy. Hef, are you on the line? Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm here.
Yeah.
Good. How's everybody?
Well, we're doing good.
Great, man.
Having lots of fun with Jay today.
Yeah, good show. I've been listening online.
Appreciate you.
Cool, man.
But I heard you guys talking about Brooks. I always wonder about him if his game would have been at the top, would he have made the jump?
I firmly believe that if he didn't have the injuries and all that stuff that happened, he probably would have stayed. Although he was notorious in his first, we'll call it his first prime, when he won I think it was 4 out of 5 majors or something like that. He even said he doesn't care about playing in the regular tour events and really just wanted to focus on the majors. So it's almost like the Live Tour was crafted specifically for him.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Well, yeah, him and anybody else that was unsure of their future. That's how I look at it. It's like getting a guarantee.
That's true. You used a very important word there, guarantee.
Guarantee.
Dustin Johnson can fall down another flight of stairs at a rental house at Augusta or in the Augusta area and never play golf again, but he's got all that money in his pocket.
I hurt his back lifting up a big kid.
Yep. Yep. Paulina doesn't really weigh that much, but that's neither here nor there. Randy's not listening, so we're good.
Oh, man. I wanted to talk about Block.
Yeah.
'Cause I know, he's near and dear, obviously, to both you guys, because, PGA, and it's a great story. But, let's be real. I mean, they've got him ranked, so you got Kisner out there. He's 67th in the world, and Kisner's 600-1 here, and they've got Block ranked 400-1.
Yeah.
So is that how do we really feel? I mean, I think we need to legitimately be talking about, is he going to make the cut?
That's the reality, and I think Jay kind of nailed it at the beginning of the show. Does he continue this ride that he's on, or does it just fall apart and then
wakes up
the reality of the situation? Okay, I'm playing in another. But Michael Block's a little different. Like I mentioned before, he's played in 25 PGA Tour events, so it's not like he's a rookie to when it comes to playing on this kind of stuff. And the hot hand in golf is a real thing.
It is. But it's also a real thing when you play a really good round and you think you're the king of the world, and then you meet up with your buddies on Saturday and can't get off the tee box. So hopefully he's that's not going to happen to him. I'm pulling for him for sure.
What would you do? What would you do though, Hef, man? I mean, you got 3,700 text messages to get back to, and Michael Jordan texts you and says, hey, congratulations. Do you focus on your game, or do you just start with a text war with Michael Jordan?
I just text.
Yeah.
I keep the game out of my head.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
Until I run to the tee box 3 seconds, 10 cup style with my caddy. We run in right before I'm supposed to tee off.
Right.
Hats on crooked.
There's only one way to do it. You swing by, you fill up your cooler, you drive up to the first tee, you drop one ball, you hit it, you hit another breakfast ball, and you're off and running.
That's right.
That's right. I hope he's not, out there with Rome sitting in the background going, did you see that? Are you watching this? I hope that's not happening to him.
I don't. Yeah.
I'm really pulling for him though. I really am. I'm making fun, but it's. I do think they leaned into it really hard, and like Jay said earlier, I mean, I'm glad he was there. It's really the only thing that kept me tuned in. the rest of the time. And I always feel like it's a drop off when it goes from ESPN to CBS. Anyway, that's just my opinion. I like ESPN's coverages, the way they do things.
We talked about this, Hefner, and I think I mentioned it on the Monday. Ryan, you weren't here, but didn't they take the shot tracer off with the CBS coverage? Is that correct? Was that right?
Yeah, late in the round, they started doing like a forward facing, like showing the guy, not down the line, but forward on the tee shots.
Yeah.
Late in the round on a major, why would you take the shot tracer off?
The shot tracer is just such a cool part of golf.
Oh, yeah.
Necessary. Like, we're spoiled. We got to have that.
I know, right?
Well, and then did you see, too, where Faldo basically gave away Block's hole-in-one prior to them. When they cut to it, he basically, I forget exactly what he said, but you knew he was going to get a hole-in-one based on what he said when they switched to go back to that.
Yeah.
And no, I agree with you wholeheartedly on that.
I know that's a big, that's a big money contract and all of that. I doubt it'll change anytime soon, but it sure does feel to me that when ESPN when they move it over to CBS, I feel like the coverage just goes down.
Well, and you're seeing more and more ESPN golf coverage too, which is nice. The Masters has been ESPN for a little while, and I was actually surprised to see that the PGA Championship had ESPN, but then having the ESPN Plus with that kind of stuff is just so cool to see all the things.
Oh, we got so much stuff, yeah. But your previous caller, he stole my pick for the week. I had Brandon Todd. I think Finau's probably going to show up.
He needs to. Last week was not pretty.
Well, I mean, he and Keegan both, they got those knee-high grips. I don't know what's going on with their clubs.
Posture. We talked about it at the top of the show. Posture. One thing I want to mention, too, about Block that I just thought about, he hit that shank on that par 3. I think it was in the second round.
Yeah.
So not only did he, shoot even par the first 2 rounds and then have another good, he played great from start to finish and had some serious hiccups that, a lot of people would not recover from. And it just goes to show he's got the mental fortitude for what he just seems like one of the guys out there having a good time. And I think that goes a long way.
Yeah.
Well, I hope he keeps that, because if he can keep that, then he can do well. But if this gets in his head at all, I think it can go one way or the other.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of pressure on him right now, just from media, just from phone calls, and I think it's going to be a, pardon my pun, a long putt. But
yeah, well, I'm hopeful. He just seems so humble and really was in the moment, and I'm hopeful that this doesn't. He's at the end of the day, he's still the head golf professional at Arroyo Country Club or whatever it was.
Right.
Teaching golf lessons for a living. So obviously,
I'll be pulling for him. Yeah, I'm pulling for him for sure. But no, Jay and I were texting back and forth. That last round. I'm actually looking more forward to this next one. Now trying to get it back in the road where we got PGA guys and the real deal.
The real deal. We don't have enough time for this.
It's like the real deal Holyfield, man. Evander Holyfield. I like it.
Those live golfers just come in and steal the show from all those PGA Tour guys and win major championships. It's so weird.
That's right. Yeah. There's something going on. I don't know. It's just lucky. It's just luck.
It's luck. It's just purely. It's that Greg Norman luck. He was notorious for that.
I mean, that's right. They're all on his shoulders. I mean, that's what we're dealing with here. A bunch of Greg Normans.
The choke artist of the world. He's no Brooks Koepka, that's for sure. Hey, Hef, we got the show ending. We got the hard break coming up here in just a second. Hey, give us a call on Friday. We'd love to talk some more about it. That's for sure.
All right, will do. Thanks, guys.
See you, Hef.
All right, you've been listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios. This afternoon coming up at 4 p.m. It's Wednesday. So, Jay, where is the afternoon underdog? Where are the afternoon underdogs going to be?
Dave and Buster.
Yes, he got it. I'm going to go 2 for 3 today on you. The water comment still threw me off. But don't forget, they'll be live from Dave & Buster's. You can swing by, pick up some free swag. They got half-price cocktails, half-price games, and the Atlanta Braves coverage starts right after them at 6 p.m. with first pitch at 6:20. I will not be here tomorrow. Not sure what we're going to do, but tune in on Friday for the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Your attention, please. ESPN Northwest Florida reminds you it's the law. It's the law. When there's a double red flag, stay out of the water, stick your toes in the sand, grab a cold drink, and listen to live sports.
Swung on, missed, drive.